Thank you, Alberto. Thank you, everybody. If anybody wants to start out with comments, questions, talking about maybe struggles that you're engaged in, um, any local or national, international struggles that people are engaged in, or comments or questions about the presentations that have come up. Um, the floor is now open. Oh, Paula?
She's right on Gaza. I mean, I get my phone is blown up every day. My brother has a website for media people, and he hear a lot of the stories. And my mother watches a lot of Al Jazeera, so we talk to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And in June, my cousin was at our house in Lamothe, and he heard the shooting of the camp down the street. And they were close enough to the house to come back, that my aunt was coming back to the States.
Mm-hmm.
And a month before that, my dead-sweet cousin of the same family that got, one of my cousins got killed about 22 years ago. His cousin got killed, and he was 17 years old. He got killed in the West Bank. And yesterday, 90 people were injured in a peaceful demonstration, and 2 were killed. And whether it's disability for dyslexia like I have, or the injustice of what's going on in Palestine, I think everybody needs to fight. I don't care what it is. When the school system and some of the should have taught me back in the day.
Yep.
I learned a lot, and I go to people and say, listen, if you have children with learning disabilities like I am, fight for your rights. Don't let the school system just say, oh, this is what we're going to do for you, which is absolutely nothing until you're in the 6th grade. You graduate high school, barely learning how to read. I mean, I could read, but I couldn't put the words together. So I have 2 disabilities. One, I'm the wrong nationality because I'm Palestinian. 2, I have a learning disability, so it's 2 double negatives. So you got to keep fighting for whatever it is. And if I think I have problems, I just look at Ryan and Randy and say, listen, the world could be worse. Randy comes to work every day, and for her to make it to work every day, that's a miracle. And for me to make it for work, it takes a 111 to work every day. For me, just to go to work, I can go to work because I can drive myself in the car. But for her to get up and take the bus every day and do that, more power to them, and to have friends like them who support my cause too. I need to come and support their causes too. So I'm glad that they had something like this, and since I couldn't go to DC today, at least I'm here supporting all the causes.
Hi everybody, my name is Danny. I am a housing specialist at an agency called TriCap in Malden, if you all are familiar. I'm also the steward of Local 1596. Right now we are engaged in a pretty difficult contract battle, which really connects to, I think, the huge discussion we're having here about austerity and how it affects not only workers, but also people who are considered criminals, and that happens to be our clients. A little story, last night I was out with my coworkers, and one of my clients was actually outside. She sleeps outside every day. And I actually witnessed her be arrested for what they call open container, because she drinks. And, the police came up to her, didn't read her rights, just shoved her into the car, and started lecturing us about how we allow at our agency these people to exist in the community and do what they do, which is a quality of life issue for them. So we're engaged in this contract battle right now where our bargaining unit has been eroded down to nothing. We are 3 members out of a contract that covers 11. And the boss is going after our salaries, our raises, and we barely make enough to live already because austerity has eroded the grants it has made our job extremely difficult. And so, we're trying to defend our clients, our community, as well as our ability to be able to do the work effectively. I think this discussion is so important here to have today because every day I see how, people are experiencing homelessness. Working class people are considered disabled. They're considered people who are different and who are, sort of expendable to the system. And austerity, in the spirit of austerity, creates the conditions where there's a whole sector of the working class that is expendable, whether they're put in prison, whether they're living on the streets with no access to resources or will never have any access to resources to be able to meet their needs. That's the age we live in today, and it's directly connected to, as Joyce was saying, the imperialist system and, how it's on its last legs. So it's really important that we connect all these struggles, and I wanted to announce that today because I will be looking for some help. We are really small, we are really isolated, but our 3 members, we're fighters, we're not going to give up. We are going to, maintain, our dignity as well as the dignity of the people we serve. Thanks.
Yay. Yay. All right,
Hi, everyone. My name is Jerry Scarpatulo, and I wanted to remind us of some of the victories that disabled people have had. I mean, I only know a few of them. There are many more than what I know, but I remember back in either the late 70s or the early 80s when Brian led the Disabled People's Liberation Front against the SAC theater chain, which no longer exists, demanding that there be accessibility. There be accessibility in the movie theaters. And then there was, I think, a year ago, when Brian and others, I think maybe Karen
John was there.
John?
And John,
John. And maybe Karen Schneiderman and Jim Brooks with their wheelchairs stopped traffic on Beacon Hill in front of the State House to protest the increased MBTA fares for people with disabilities. And I think we had a victory out of that, didn't we?
A partial victory, still ongoing struggle. Partial victory, they bumped the fare down a little, but
they bumped down the fare, but
yeah.
most people don't bother with the ride. I don't bother with the ride. I want to get my money, and most people don't. Nah.
Good.
I started to speak, so I sound different. But if ever I fall, or I fall off one of them bus, I have to grab them. I don't think I was going to grab them. And Johnny was saying, no, I don't need any more trouble. Let me take care of myself. I call my husband or a friend. No ambulance. And I don't want more trouble. Johnny was alluding to that before. We don't want more stuff.
Yeah.
Comments?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Burke? Okay. Sorry. Okay. Because I think when disabled people organize and become visible and organize like this, there's real power there. There's real power there. This meeting is not supposed to exist. I mean, people with disabilities are not supposed to have power, but people with disabilities do have power. And I've been a member of ACT UP since the 1980s, and I know that the people with HIV, a group, all of whom have a lethal, deadly disability, had tremendous power. And I'm hoping that can come out of this today is some ongoing assembling movement or a group of people who can stay in touch with each other and maybe have an event, a protest, or whatever you all may decide, because it is up to you to decide, but just to come together consistently and have a meeting and decide what you want to do. There's a lot of power in that. And I think there are people here who are willing to be your assistants and help in exercise of that power. And this is a very inspiring event for me to be part of. And thank you so much for having it.
Yo me pregunto, somos un grupo de poder que estamos aquí, aunque no haya más de lo que esperábamos.
She's asking, I know that there is power here, although it's not a full room. There is power here.
Porque estamos permitiendo tantas violaciones y tantas matanzas de derechos en los humanos.
We should not allow. We should not allow no more crime against humanity anywhere. We should do whatever we can to stop the crimes against humans by capitalism.
Podemos hacer algo hoy, puede salir hoy de aquí una respuesta más poderosa para que no se sigan violentando los derechos en el mundo de las personas con disabilidad.
She said that we could come out of this meeting with better answers, better responses. Yeah. That we should start thinking about more coordinated responses to the struggle of people with disability globally.
Necesitamos unir más fuerza y llegar la voz a donde no nos están escuchando para que no se sigan violentando los derechos humanos y de las personas con disabilidad, que hay tantas cosas negativas, tantas violaciones están existiendo en nuestras caras,
aún siendo personas deshabilitadas.
We need to, I don't know if this is working, I don't know. We need to make an effort to find new ways of engaging people, that we need to be more creative, finding other alternative ways of engaging people in the struggle.
Basta ya de basta ya de esta catástrofe.
Yeah, she said that it's enough chaos. We need to bring some order to this world.
Vamos a unirnos más y vamos a regar la voz en el mundo, no más violaciones a los derechos de las personas con disabilidad, que nuestras propias caras y este gobierno, no importa qué gobierno, capitalismo, llámele como le llame, sigue violentando los derechos de las personas con disabilidad. ¡Basta ya!
That we had enough of abuses, enough of violation of human rights. We need to stop this madness.
Voy a pedir un favor. Yo nunca pido favor estando en organizaciones y ayudando a defender los derechos de las personas con disabilidad y de los humanos.
I go to ask for a favor.
Si se puede llamar así.
If we could call it that way.
Vamos a ayudar a Puerto Rico.
We want to support Puerto Rico.
Para que el gobierno... vamos a ayudar a Puerto Rico para que el gobernador García Padilla no siga violentando más los derechos de los niños con impedimentos y el gobierno de los Estados Unidos a oídos sordos está. Vamos a hacer la lucha porque basta ya. Según están matando en Palestina a los niños, a los humanos, Puerto Rico va por el mismo camino violentando los derechos y van a seguir sucediendo cosas si no se le pone un stop.
In the same way that children's lives are violently approaching Palestine, in the same way, even if it's not direct, it's violently approaching Puerto Rico. Because when you don't have resources to take care of people, when you don't have resources to take health care and adequate education for people who have disabilities, when you have poverty, all of that affect the quality of life, and that in some way we need to consider that violence against people.
Y vamos a seguir apoyando a no más violaciones en las guaguas escolares aquí en Nueva York, que siguen el día a día violaciones de derechos.
There is a lot of violation of human rights in the school buses in New York.
Todos los días se violentan los derechos de los niños con impedimentos dentro del transporte escolar. Hay transportación, pero el Estado no ayuda de alguna manera a que estos choferes tan adiestrados, capacitados y tengan un EPP para que estas personas puedan bregar con nuestros niños dentro de la
She feels that the school bus driver of New York need more training taking care of children with disability, and that the state is neglecting providing the training necessary to take care of the children in school buses.
Somos una fuerza, hoy estamos aquí y somos una fuerza en el mundo entero para ayudar, para que no se violenten más los derechos de las personas con disabilidad. Vamos a seguir la lucha.
We are a powerful force. Everybody in this room, and globally, we're even more powerful. And we need to understand that and find ways to unify and to fight back.
Thank you.
Hi. Okay. Hi. So very quick introduction. I'm Colin Killick. I work for the Disability Policy Consortium, and I wanted to echo there is an enormous amount of power in this room. And there are an enormous number of issues that need to be addressed, and what I would just urge everyone to do, I think we can do this as a group, is to identify some issues, as I think the last couple speakers have done, where our actions could stand a real chance of affecting some change. And just to float one more that I think was alluded to by Mr. Francois, but that I think that some kind of national action absolutely need to happen on. There's a program, a federal program called Special Employment, which allows employers, the biggest group taking advantage of this is Goodwill, to hire employees with disabilities to, for themselves, rate what percentage of an able-bodied worker that they have the capacity of. The employer gets to decide how capable they think their employee is, and then pay them a fraction of the federal minimum wage, in cases less than $1 an hour. Now, if that outrages all of you as much as it outrages me, that's the kind of thing I think we could take action on. The ride issues is, as we've brought up, something we can take action on. Mr. Kelly's work on behalf of Not Dead Yet is something we could take action on, and so I'm just urging us, please don't let this momentum die at the end of today. Let's identify these issues and let's start working on them.
Okay, very good. Yes, I'm Johnny Stevens from New York. I'm happy to be one of the organizers 2 years ago with Eddie Joyce and a lot of the New York friends talking to Brian to organize a couple of meetings with American Disabilities Act, but also to put out some tools. You see the table, there's some videos that we have and some talks that we've been carrying in Workers World, and we got up on the website that's dealing with the question historically of the contribution of disabled people and people made disabled by capitalism who have gave to society and keep giving and giving needs and so forth. So we like people to watch those videos because we as the instrument. I have a few people here that we pass out these buttons to that Alon did in New York, and we just had a few of them, but anybody else who was a speaker here, we'd like to get one of these buttons because this is another tool that we need to get around. And we want people to see the lit table, watch the internet, watch the live stream, watch the artwork that Nan have, because we need to come out of here, what Malagos is saying, out of a union hall like this with all the groups that's here, with the streaming that's going on that the sisters actually doing here. We need to come out knowing that we are powerful, but we got tools. We got things to work with because we made all these things. So we need to know that for one. For two, I'd like to invite everyone to an event that we're having of over 5,000 CEOs, October the 7th and the 8th in New York City, who's coming to New York's Radio Music Hall, who are Ben Bernanke, who was Microsoft, you know, who was General Electric, who are dropping bombs and making drones and stuff that's killing people in Gaza right now. They're coming to New York, and we want this community here, these workers in this room here, the disability community, we want you to come and be a viable part of that, because these are a lot of the corporations and a lot of the thugs that prevent services to you, that take away the wealth and production that you have gave and deplete service from you. And they're coming here to have this big party in Radio Music Hall, and we'll say, we're not going to have it. We're not going to have no killing of Eric Garner that's happening in Staten Island. We're not going to have that. We're not going to have bus services and other services that prevent it from the community. So the leaflet's on the table. We want people to see it, but most of all, we want group to endorse it. We want people here to actually get together and be a part of it. I'm with a group called Parents to Improve School Transportation. We have a whole family over here that we brought with us of students and parents of that particular group, along with Malagos. And we're happy to be here today, and we're happy to come here also in solidarity with the Boston school bus drivers, and also to tell Veolia, if you touch our workers, if you touch our organizers like Steve and like Francois and the other workers and the mentors and our children, you've united service, we will fight to the end. So we're here again to affirm our solidarity for the school bus workers and to say no to racism and to no to the re-segregation that they're planning to bring in through Veolia, through here. And it's not only here. The EPP in New York have taken the service away from bus drivers, mainly Latin and Asian and Haitian women, who's getting 28,000, bus drivers who get 58,000, who have the best school bus record in the whole country, not by our statistic, by their statistic, got the best drivers, this Union 1181, of safety in New York City, and you take that service away that the workers had give to the parents and to the community by taking the EPP and employment protection provisions. This is an onslaught. That's what's happening in Boston, and it's happening nationally, and it's by these corporations like Veolia and First Transportation in England. It's an international struggle, and we're going to approach it this way, and you are very much a part of the IEP and all the workers here in this room. Thank you very much.
I want to thank, okay, Andre.
Yeah, with that saying, I'd like to ask you when you think you're going to have the next meeting to keep organizing, to continue organizing this effort. I have some ideas. Maybe we ought to get a date in place and then start organizing and go to the street corners and go to the church, the synagogue, the mosque, every place that you have a good gathering of people, plenty of people, and tell them about all these struggles together, all these issues, from bus drivers, from disabled people, and with people with disability and everything else that we talked about here, so we can have people that share the same common ground and with all this issue here, and build this more powerful force to fight the capitalism, and then to making sure that our voice is heard, because I'm sitting here talking about some of the things that we have to do, and if we don't take action to them, we will have meeting after meetings and meeting after meeting. So we have to start organizing that way. Thank you.
Joyce.
Oh, just quickly, Frank reminded me, there's a big demonstration today on Gaza in Washington, very important activity. There's also one in New York next Saturday at 1 o'clock on the 9th. So just so that you know about it, it has about 50, 75 endorsers of local and national organizations. So we need to keep the pressure on. It's at Columbus Circle. We've been starting them at CNN. And there was a big one yesterday. We went from CNN to Fox. And it's important to target the media and expose them because they're like PR for the U.S. and Israel at this point, the major media. But also in New York City, it's good to go that route because you reach many more people. You reach many thousands of tourists. The UN there aren't too many people down there. So we target the media, we target the U.S., we target Israel, we reach people with that route.
I'm Eddie Yud from New York City. The first thing I'd like to do is one of our scheduled speakers, Vietnam veteran and activist for veterans with disabilities, Renee Emperado, was not able to come, but he emailed me a statement which I'd like to read. Comrades, please convey my regrets. I had a fall yesterday. I'm okay, but traveling to Boston today is too much of a challenge. I just want to say on behalf of disabled veterans of imperialist wars, the problem in the Veterans Administration is not the VA itself, but 20 years of endless war and underfunding. Many of the workers I know at the VA work on their own time without pay to help veterans in need. This is never reported in the media. The problem is capitalism. There will be no solution without socialism. Fight on, brothers and sisters. To the next battle we go. All my best, Renee Emperado. I want to thank the brother who spoke about people with disabilities not having the same minimum wage rights that the rest of us have. First of all, I want to say that I'm a person with an emotional disability and one-sided hearing loss. When the Fair Standards Act was passed in 1938, establishing the minimum wage, it had provisions excluding people with disabilities from that right. I'm a member of Communications Workers of America Local 1180. I'm co-chair of their Committee on People with Disabilities. When I heard about that, I actually heard about it from an organization called the National Federation of the Blind, who wanted to come here today but were not able to. They are picketing Goodwill Industries all over the country. Goodwill Industries pays some people with disabilities as little as 22 cents an hour. There's a law that has not passed the last few years in Washington. The National Federation of the Blind has a website. It's asked me to ask everyone to get on the website and sign their petition to get this law passed to include people with disabilities. Other people, groups of people are also excluded. Immigrants are excluded. Prisoners are excluded. Everybody should be included. The last thing I want to say is something about the homeless and the issue of the homeless. Every person on this planet is entitled to a home. And being without a home is a kind of a disability. And I am so happy that this forum is including a group of the international homeless, the Palestinian people. Thank you.
Hey, Brian, my name is Robert Trainer. And now, hey, Brian, could you do me a favor? Could you say something about what happened down on the Commons a couple of weeks ago and what they got planned? Or, just say a cock of the head at City Hall Plaza. You remember when all disabled people were down on City Hall?
Oh, that was the.
Yeah, could you tell what went on there?
Oh, that was the city's 88th celebration. That was the that they usually have every year around July 26th, the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And that was the city of Boston's 80th celebration. Okay, so that's what that was. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
We are. Okay. Anybody else? We else want to say something? I just like to say, I want to say that it's been said a couple of times that we talk about the Sax Theater. When I came to Workers' World Party, and this was my second phase of getting back into political, progressive stuff. I did a lot of work around Martin Luther King and Black Panther Party and all that kind of stuff. But then I came out of there and I raised a family, and then I jumped on the school buses, and lo and behold, I jumped into another big fight, right? And so during that fight, we was on strike. We going to strike, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. You know, I was just getting back into it. And we on strike, and here's this guy. It's cold, raining, and it's snowing and shit. And here this guy beat me to the picket line. I said, what's going on here? This disabled guy beat me to the picket line. So he gave me a lot of inspiration to get up off my butt and do more, you know what I mean? So, and I just want to say another thing, that I went to Cuba in 1995, and I'm going to Cuba. I didn't want nobody telling me nothing about, you got to go here, you got to go there. So I'm walking down the street in Cuba by myself, no interpreter. I didn't know where the hell I was going anyway. But anyway, I looked over here and I heard all this good music in this room over here. I said, what the hell's going on here? I go in this room, and it was some nice jazz music in there, and I looked at it, there was the disabled people with no hands and no legs, and they were having a nice time. I mean, they was feel like, they was feeling like they were somebody, you know what I mean? And so it was real encouraging for me. And I can tell you this, when I joined the party, it was, maybe Steve can help me, was a lady named Jane Gallant, and she was coming to All People's Congress from Revere to Boston, and they didn't have a bus for her to, disabled bus to come in, and I used to have to lift her up and put her on the bus and bring her back, and that's when we started our campaign to make the city do what they're supposed to do. I mean, and we had 10 years of that Sax Theater every Friday night. I did it for 10 years, didn't we, Brian? And the only way we conquered that time is Brian they took some chain and chained the doors together, and the fire department came up with the police, and they didn't have a cutter to cut the chain, and so they finally gave in. So that's a little story I wanted to say about that. Okay. Who else wants to speak? Steve? What do you think?
Eddie has a sign-up form, and he doesn't want to quit till everyone signed up, because this is a historic day, and we'll all remember this. I think when we look back at the storm of human needs, battles that are going to be coming.
I want to say one more thing, guys.
What's that? What's it? What'd you say?
I don't want that. All right, well, Bobby, I appreciate what you said, but I am something.
You are something.
Not that in Cuba, listening to tunes and drinking. I wanted to be something. I am.
Somebody.
I go to work. I work 9 to 5, 10 to 6 every day. I get up in the morning. I shower, make my lunch, hop the train, hop the bus, and all these freedom people checking me out. I'm like, you don't know a thing about me. That song I always sing, you don't know a thing about me. They're all taking me out like, what's wrong with her? One bus driver said to me one day, about a year or so ago, oh, you like to ride the buses with the people, huh? And I said, well, let me tell you, I probably make more money a day than you make a month. And I'm going to work. I have my lunch. Get out of my work. But the whole point is, I mean, yeah, do stuff different. I have a PCA, and I do stuff different, but that's it. I still do, and it gets done. And I love the idea of a people's assembly because we need to make sure everyone does something to deal with this problem. Why should anyone take away from anyone? The world needs everyone, whether you're white, black, man, woman, gay, lesbian, Puerto Rican, blah, 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 to make it work. It's the only way. Only way society will work if we're all different. So let's just go with that and make the problems go away.
Wait, okay.
So,
Okay, all right, all right.
Okay.
I just wanted to say a couple of words that came to my mind when Randy was talking, when the sister back there was talking. I don't have a well-formulated thought, but being a bus driver myself, it brought to mind the relationship of the disability rights movement and all that it has done for the workers' movement in general. I'm thinking back as Randy and the sister back here are talking to 1989, when the Greyhound bus drivers waged a heroic strike that lasted for over a year. It was a bloody strike. It was hard fought. They were dealing with a ruthless corporation that was trying to take away their wages and their benefits, and it didn't all end well, but the best thing about it was that practically every day on the picket lines down on St. James Street, where the Greyhound terminal was in Boston, there was Brian Shea, and there was Karen Snyderman, and there was Jim Brooks, and all the leaders of the Disabled People's Liberation Front, and the broader disabled rights movement. So that just almost at the moment that the Greyhound strike ended, the disabled rights movement came to the Greyhound workers and said, we need to struggle around the right to get on these interstate buses, and that was the beginning of the struggle leading up to the ADA. And in that particular context, I remember, bus drivers at Greyhound who were so appreciative of the solidarity from the disabled rights movement, had never really thought about that before, had always been confronted with the situation of saying, no, you can't get on the bus. Or, having to struggle to pick human beings up to get onto the bus, as was described here tonight. And it was the ATU, the Greyhound drivers, who said, let's do this. Let's get together and block the Greyhound buses. Let's do demonstrations together. This was right after the strike ended. And I remember us down there at many actions on St. James Street, where I think Brian even chained himself to a Greyhound bus, which was a bold freaking move to do. Those things were big, And all the Greyhound drivers were out there, and the school bus drivers were out there, actually stopping the operations of the Greyhound bus, learning the lessons of the strike that had just taken place. And to tell you the truth, I don't really remember, and I don't know on a personal basis what were the gains of that. You know, I really honestly don't know how a person who uses a wheelchair gets on a Greyhound bus right now. But you still don't. You still don't. So, you know, it's time for more of this kind of solidarity action. I know that on July the 14th, when they were trying to take Kurzbaum to court and lock him up, that's what they really tried to do, claiming he was trespassing illegally on our own driver's room property, saying he was, you know, assault and battering people that were never there, saying that we were destroying property, that they couldn't find a piece of property that was destroyed, you know. Brian and other people were there at the courthouse where we turned what was supposed to be an arraignment and a locking up into a people's protest on the courthouse steps, which is illegal, by the way. You're not allowed to take over courthouse steps in Massachusetts, but we had hundreds of people there. And Brian was talking about the relationship between the disabled rights movement and the school bus drivers in Boston, which, you know, has not been, it's been an uneven path, probably like it is in New York City too, but has been one where we've been able to come together to the point where, you know, Brian and others have done educationals to the Boston school bus drivers at the union's invitation, where we have taken over training sessions, and where, you know, the school bus drivers in Boston know, as Bobby T said, when we have strikes, when we have actions, I don't know how he does it, but it's through sheer guts and solidarity and determination. This guy is almost always the first person on the picket line. And so, you know, we're here to say, you know, actually thank you to the disabled rights movement, you know, for all of the teeth that have been taken out of it, for all of the lack of resources given to it. You know, on our job, we use the Americans with Disabilities Act all the time. Even yesterday, a sister came to me and said, what do I do? I have this bad back problem and I can't drive this particular type of bus because it has a bad seat on it. And we've had experience because of the leadership of the disabled rights movement and lots of other cases, even in our own union with bus drivers, where we can now force the bus company to either fix that and make an accommodation to that, or give the worker another bus of another model that fits that, you know? And so, you know, the workers' movement owes a lot to the disabled rights movement. We're one and the same, and we look forward to a lot more of the solidarity and the struggles to come. Thank you.
All right, all right, all right. I see you over in the corner here. I'm coming.
Hi, my name is Charlene. I'm from Queens, and I'm a parent of 4. And I just want to thank all of you. I'm honored, and it's a privilege to be here. You are my hero, my inspiration, children with special needs, and all people with an array of different disabilities. I just come forth to say we need to continue to unite together, stand out, speak out, and don't give up. And know that, you know, we will make a difference. I know from personal experience, a lot of people have the wrong definition of disability. And what I've seen is what they do is all about abilities and making a difference and inspiring us to make a change. I know that myself and my children, although we may not look like we have a certain challenge, that has become a humongous challenge, because a lot of times they visibly need to see a disability in order to do something. And I've seen many people's rights been violated, and I've stepped forward to be a part of this movement, and I want to continue to be there to see the differences that we're going to make. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to say, since 1970, I'm doing work for the Palestinians. It used to be the PLO years ago, back in the 1980s.
There was a group called Copine in the 70s. My mom and my uncle and my stepdad used to meet in Harvard Square in a church right next to the Harvard, where the Harvard Inn is now, and drag us to demonstrations. I remember being on the front of the Globe when I was 6 years old with my Jewish friends carrying signs, and it resonates today going on through the generations, and we still fight and we still talk about Palestine. And to hear that my niece was potty training when she was 2, now she's 13 or 14, and she was chanting slogans on the potty because that's what she learned. But I mean, I'm thankful for everybody who came out and who is supporting the Palestinians, and we need to keep fighting for everybody.
That's right. They need all kind of. I'm coming, bro.
Hi, this is John Kelly. I'd just like to follow up on something Charlene said about that we can't really know how hard it is for someone else, or whether they have a disability or whatever it is that might get in the way, because it's very natural when disabled people get together with people who identify as able-bodied, that the able-bodied people notice that we were able to get someplace, or that it was harder for us. And it may be harder for us, but it's easy to fall in the path that is laid out for us. The regular society loves to exploit disabled people as little inspirational heroes and put them on the front page so that people can only pay attention to individuals rather than social and structural forces. So you will see someone on the front page of the Globe, the guy who was singing opera was on the other day. Then we have the little kid who didn't give up and went to school. And it almost becomes a joke for us, we say to each other, "Oh, you're such an inspiration to me." And this is, so it's very sincere, and we understand that people mean it, and that's from your experience, but you just need to know that you're kind of going down the path that the exploiters are laying out for you, which is to look at us and confuse our physical or emotional or intellectual condition for the quality of our life. And you really can't know what someone else's quality of life is. And so, actually, it's difficult for everyone. Life is kind of hard. And so, we're kind of at the stage of our movement where we want to be welcomed as equal partners and accommodated when we need to. It makes us very uncomfortable to be called out as special and different, when that's exactly what the larger society is trying to do to us. Because when you take a group and put them on a pedestal and make them special and different, it doesn't work out so well, as women could say. So, thanks.
And I just want to say, this is my brother right here. His name is Kenneth, and he's been stricken for 5 years now, right? And I take him around with me everywhere I go. So you could say that Kenneth's going to join your caucus, and he'll be with you everywhere you go, all right? He's a man that had 3 jobs. Before he got sick, he had 3 jobs. Man, he's worse than me. I got 2. Anybody else want to say a couple words before we... Let's say, Johnny. I'll come in with you. The lady first.
I just forgot to mention that I just wanted for us to continue to be mindful, to continue to educate our communities, because many times I've gone to places and anytime I mention the American Disabilities Act, they don't know what I'm talking about. And so, our rights are violated in many different ways. And I appreciate you mentioning that, because a lot of times people look upon physically challenged people as feel sorry for them, and I see that people have become very numb and desensitized to human beings. And that just mortifies me when I see that. And whatever I can do to help someone else, we should be loving one another as brothers and sisters. And God made us all for a purpose.
Yeah, I just wanted to give special thanks to the committee. I'm talking about weeks and weeks and weeks of work on conference call, doing special things that we see here, but being on conference call and really laying it out and contacting people to speak, getting this hall, getting the lid out, doing the technical work. And we invite more people to come in and be a part of that, because me, myself, I look for someone to, to work. I look to work my way out of a task and someone else to take that task over. And it's much needed that people can come in. We'd like to thank Frank, Phoebe. We'd like to thank Eddie over here, who's doing childcare right now. These are all special work in the sense that it's a collective work in the sense that it's all our work. So again, a shout out to the committee for a great job. And you gave us something to work with, and we're going to take it forward. Thank you.